A leader, a figurehead, someone who the whole team is inspired by and looks up to. A captain plays a pivotal role and is arguably the most important player on the pitch. In fact, the captain is the only player who can directly talk to the referee, further displaying just how much power they hold. And on the international stage, where the stakes are extremely high, to even have the honour to represent your country is a great feat that few players will ever get to experience. But even greater than that, having the opportunity to captain your national side is one of the biggest honours for a rugby player, and it's a recognition of your skill, dedication and commitment to the sport. So with that in mind, today we're going to be looking at 6 of the youngest Rugby National Team captains of all time. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much for the support on the recent videos. Honestly, without you guys, none of this would be possible. Also, you might have noticed that the channel name is a bit different. Yes, I'm going by John Talks Rugby now, just because I feel like as the channel grows, you guys should get to know me more in the videos. So honestly, I just want to really stand out as well. And so without further ado, let's go. Starting off pretty strong, Sam Warburton is a former player who represented Wales as well as the British and Irish Lions at international level. Also, fun fact, he was really good mates with Gareth Bale, where they played for the same school football team, but decided to focus on rugby instead, going pro at the start of the 2008-09 season for Cardiff Rugby. He made his debut for the senior Wales national team against the United States on the 6th of June 2009 at just 20 years old. A few months later, on the 18th of January 2010, he was named in the 35-man Wales squad for the 2010 Six Nations, and a year later he scored his first international try against Italy in the 2011 Six Nations. But that summer, on the 4th of June 2011, at the age of just 22 years and 242 days, Warburton captained Wales for the first time against the Barbarians, becoming Wales' second youngest captain, and that August he was named as captain for the 2011 Rugby World Cup in New Zealand. Wales would finish second in their pool, with their only loss coming to South Africa by a single point. They would overcome Ireland 22-10 in the quarters, and face one of the favourites France in the semi-final. In an incredible turn of events, Warburton was sent off after 18 minutes for a dangerous tackle on France's Vincent Clerc. Wales would crash out in dramatic fashion, losing again by a point, 8-9. Warburton remained as captain for the 2012 Six Nations, but was injured in the first 2 matches, but came back with a man of the match performance, making an insane try-saving tackle, as Wales overcame England 19-12 to reclaim the Triple Crown. Warburton picked up an injury and was out for Wales' win against Italy, but returned for the Grand Slam decider against France, which Wales would win. Warburton had done it. He'd captained Wales to a Grand Slam Six Nations victory. A year later, in the 2013 Six Nations, despite an opening weekend loss to Ireland, Wales would go on to win the championship on points difference, sealing back-to-back Six Nations wins. Pretty incredible, right? But even more impressively, that summer, Warburton was named as captain of a 37-man squad for the 2013 British and Irish Lions tour to Australia, making him the youngest ever Lions captain at the age of just 24. Historically, the Lions would win their first Test series since 1997. Simply incredible. 4 years later in 2017, Warburton would play in his last Six Nations for Wales, and that April, Warburton was selected by Warren Gatland to captain the Lions again for the 2017 tour to New Zealand, which ended in a draw. However, in 2018 the rugby world was left shocked as Warburton was forced to retire from rugby after failing to recover from neck and back surgery. Since then, he's worked as a pundit and a journalist. I mean, what a start so far, but does someone like Michael Hooper compare? After featuring for the Wallabies for 2 years up to that point, due to a season-ending injury to captain Stephen Moore during the first test of 2014 against France in Brisbane, Hooper was named as Wallabies captain for the rest of the 2014 Test season at just 23 years and 223 days. It wasn't actually till 2017 that Hooper became the full-time Wallabies captain for the 2017 Rugby Championship, following Stephen Moore's international retirement. In 2020, Hooper played his 100th Test for Australia, becoming the fastest Wallaby to reach 100 Tests, as well as being the youngest player at the time to reach 100 Tests for his country. And a year later, Hooper became the most capped Wallabies captain with 60 caps. In the summer of 2023, in a surprising turn of events, national team head coach Eddie Jones didn't pick Hooper for the World Cup squad later that year. claiming that he wasn't the right role model for the team. As a result, Cooper signed on with Rugby Australia's 7 squad for 2024 and hopes to represent them at the Olympics later this year in Paris. Even though he wasn't able to win silverware as captain of the Wallabies, Cooper was a revered player and a great athlete, and I honestly wish him all the best in his Sevens endeavours. The England rugby team were in a period of transition following failure at the 1987 Rugby World Cup, and having only won one Five Nations Championship since 1980, things seriously needed to change. In Christmas of 1987, Will Carling, who'd been pro for just a few months, was called up for England's 1988 Five Nations squad, where they finished 3rd. Later that year, Carling was announced as England captain, and at the age of 22 became England's youngest captain of all time. Under Carling, England started to challenge and beat the established rugby union powers, such as New Zealand and Australia, and their successes helped to make rugby union a more popular sport in England. In 1991 and 1992, Carling led England to back-to-back Five Nations Grand Slams, and a year later in 1993, he became the second English captain to lead and beat all of the big 3 Southern Hemisphere sides, those being Australia, New Zealand and South Africa. In the run-up to the 1995 World Cup, after England returned to form with their 3rd Grand Slam in 5 years, Carling described the Rugby Football Union General Committee as 57 old farts, which led to his sacking as captain. He was however quickly reinstated due to public pressure, and following a public apology, was able to go to the 1995 Rugby World Cup. England made it to the semi-final, but were well beaten by New Zealand, and shortly afterwards, in 1996 at the age of 30, Carling announced his resignation as England captain. In Bod we trust. That was the motto popularly expressed by Irish supporters for Brian O'Driscoll after he announced himself with a hat-trick away against France in the 2006 Nations Championship. 2 years later in 2002, O'Driscoll was handed the captaincy for the first time in Ireland's 18-9 win over Australia, the first Irish victory over the Wallabies since 1979, and in 2003 was awarded the captaincy on a permanent basis. O'Driscoll would get his first taste of success, as he led Ireland to triple crowns in 2004, 2006 and 2007, but would top that in 2009, leading Ireland to win the Triple Crown, Six Nations Championship and their first Grand Slam in 61 years. His incredible try-scoring form led him to be named as Player of the Tournament. Now for the British and Irish Lions, O'Driscoll was named captain for the team ahead of their 2005 tour in New Zealand, which they lost, but in 2009 he was given the opportunity to captain the Lions in their opening match on tour to South Africa. O'Driscoll made his 100th appearance for Ireland against Wales in the 2010 Six Nations, and a year later in the same competition, he scored a 47th minute try against England to become the leading championship try scorer of all time with 25 tries. He returned from an injury for Ireland's tour of New Zealand in 2012, and there equalled the record for captaining an international side a whopping 83 times. In 2013, before the Six Nations, returning from injury, O'Driscoll's captaincy wouldn't be reinstated, and in 2014 he played his last game for the national team, leaving as an Ireland legend. Taine Randell played his first game for the All Blacks in 1995, being just 20 years old at the time against Italy A, Italy's second tier side, and a year later at 21, he captained the All Blacks in South Africa in 1996 in 4 non-test games, and 2 years later at 23, captained the All Blacks vs England in 1998. However, Randall's low moment came during the 1999 Rugby World Cup, where he led the team to defeat against France in the semi-final. In fact, due to the backlash he received following the defeat, Randell left New Zealand to spend a month in Florida in the United States to get away from the negative media spotlight. Randell will continue to play for the All Blacks, but was dropped in 2001, then recalled a year later to captain the All Blacks on the end-of-year tour of England, France and Wales. These marked his last games as captain for the All Blacks, as not too long after, he left New Zealand before the 2003 Rugby World Cup. Now the man you've all waited for, Dafydd Jenkins. So due to the fact that he's recently burst onto the scene, I feel like it's fitting for you guys to know about the insane journey this guy has been on. Jenkins started to make waves at school, playing for one of England's best school teams in Hartpury College, and it was whilst playing there that Jenkins was contacted by Exeter head coach Rob Baxter, and he linked up with their team in 2021. At the University of Exeter, Jenkins played for their rugby team in the BEUCS Super Rugby tournament, the highest level of men's university rugby in Britain, and was named man of the match when Exeter won the tournament, defeating Durham University 14-13, where he scored a try in the final. On the 13th of November 2021, Jenkins made his professional debut for Exeter Chiefs in the Premiership Rugby Cup defeat to Bristol, and a few months later, in February of 2022, made his first league start. Historically, the next season, on the 12th of November 2022, Jenkins set the Premiership record as the youngest player named captain, at 19 years and 342 days old. And just a week later, Jenkins made his international debut, coming off the bench against Georgia. In January of 2023, Jenkins was named in Wales squad for the 2023 Six Nations, where he made his debut the following month, coming off the bench against Ireland. A week later, Jenkins made his first start for Wales against Scotland. But a year later, he would top that, being named captain for this year's Six Nations at the age of just 21 years old. Simply incredible. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. I know there have been some players I've missed out, but I would definitely love to make a part 2 at some point in the future. As always, make sure to like, share and subscribe for more of the best rugby content. Also, thanks for the support on the recent videos. Click here to watch either of them now. With that all said and done, it's been your boy John Talks Rugby, and I'll see you next time.